A very, very warm good evening. This is Arunfoot Chaudhary. You are live on my YouTube channel, Arunfoot, and it's another Indian football discussion on a Sunday on March the 2nd. Sorry that I'm later than I originally intended to come, um, you know, than I planned. Sorry, there was something work-wise which I had to get done. And therefore I'm later than intended. So therefore, thank you very much, guys, for joining in again. What hopefully will be another interesting, insightful discussion amongst us on Indian football. But before we get into the bigger things of discussions, as always, what I always like to say is, if you like the discussion, what you're hearing, what you're seeing, do leave a like behind, share it with other people so others get to know that this discussion is happening. And if you want to come back on a more regular basis, do subscribe to the channel, to Arunfoot. We currently have 2,312 subscribers. So thank you very much, everybody. And off we go into the discussion tonight as East Bengal FC were denied the possible chance of a victory by Bengaluru FC. A late Sunil Chetri penalty due to a Nishu Kumar handball earned BFC a draw. And I go into what I see that has been written. Good evening, Kiran Rare. Horrible game by East Bengal FC as they missed 3 easy chances today, really easy chances. I wouldn't say horrible game. I think you're there to say that I think East Bengal played a very good game in the first half. And finishing, again, it is a problem with the number of teams. We were discussing that regarding Mumbai City yesterday also. But East Bengal have only themselves on one side to blame, East Bengal should have sealed the game in the first 45. Good evening, Blue. BFC also missed easy chances. Yes, that is very, very right, Blue. Especially in that second half where BFC, of course, against 10 men, built up the pressure. And Timmy's affair with the red card is such a devastating love story. He's not helped his team. I mean, he was in the way of that Mahesh shot, and he was ranting as always. He has a character issue at the moment. He has an issue that sounds bad, but most probably puts himself above everything else, and that is not helping himself. It's not helping his team. And I don't know what this contractual situation with East Bengal is, if it was a 12 or a 24-month contract, but I think Diamantakos is someone that I would try not to retain because he has harmed the team more than anything else. I at least feel because East Bengal fought, they fought like lions today, and or rather maybe like a Royal Bengal tiger today. But Diamantakos was first of all that, and that red card is just sheer stupidity. Nothing more to say. You don't do that. You've just earned a foul. Why? I mean, why are you? Why? And this is not the first time. Let's see. So was that a handball to make it sure? Because many are denying it. Shivam, 100% handball. I mean, so over Sunil, unnatural position, and you always know that something is most probably right when the players do not protest. And you saw none of these Bengal players were protesting about that handball. You saw even Oscar turning around and they had seen that. And then so therefore, So therefore, I don't know. I'm honestly, I'm really fed up of when people start denying things. It's guys. Again, the referees make a lot of mistakes, but when the referees do right, just say and question your own team. I think that's one thing that a lot of people, especially in Kolkata, need to start asking. Both teams was finished today in terms of finishing. Yeah, that can be said. Mahesh has been playing really good since Oscar started him in mid. Yeah, Manolo, very, very true. Mahesh is one of the players who has potential, and he has to do more. He has to do more with that potential. Um, yeah, that is it. And so regarding yesterday's thing, don't take me wrong. Subhashish has got fractures in his face in many parts due to an injury early this season, and he's not been able to have his operation. Shivam, okay, if I would know you, and I forget the first part of the sentence. This is like we were yesterday, yesterday's conversation. This is my problem with this whole discussion. I'm fed up that we're seeing this on a regular basis, these kind of things. Diamantopoulos, I think, should have been sent off I don't know how many times this season for doing what he's been doing. I'm fed up. I'm just fed up, and this, Shivam, it does not justify for what he's done, and yeah, it leaves in my opinion, leaves a very, very bad taste. But again, and if you're trying to, so I don't think it was acting by him, as I really have never seen him act. Shivam, it happens in an instant. And those who have played football know that. That was 100% play acting. He wanted to get Vikram off his back because he was having problems with Vikram. Believe me. And if you don't think so, guys, think otherwise, it's fine. But for me, this has to be called out. And especially the captain of the ISL League Shield winners and, an Indian national team player. Normally, there should be a disciplinary committee meeting on this matter, and he should be banned for 2 or 3 matches. Minimum, if not longer. Take him out for longer. Take him out for the rest of the ISL. That would be a fair price for what he did yesterday, which is so shameful. And it is, for me, an unforgettable act. That is the reality. He should be actually taken out of business. Yeah, that is what actually, should be done. I should start a campaign. Subhashish out for the rest of the ISL. That would be a fair price for what he did yesterday. And what? Karma is B ... whatever. Mumbai City at least got a draw. So, I always say there is somewhere a football god up there. Not always, but sometimes there is. And yesterday there was one because Mumbai City, first of all, didn't deserve to lose. And secondly, they fought back like the real champions of India. They are the real champions. Mohun can win whatever they want. But this was, again, part of the game. Not the first one, not the last time, but other players as well. And I'm just getting started. Oscar tried to do Havas today. Everything was going perfect until that penalty. I don't think so. Oscar was playing Oscar. And Oscar is a realist. He's a pragmatic guy. Knowing him a little bit, he knew once the red card happened, I have to drop back and have to try work on those counterattacks. And if you see that pass, that combination and that pass that Mahesh played to David, at the other end, of course, Shiva Shakti hits the post, and then they have this counterattacking situation. That was the moment, right? And that didn't work out, but yeah, I compliment Oscar for the turnaround that he's achieved with this team, because I remember I watched his first match in charge of East Bengal in the derby, and East Bengal were a dead team. On that day in October in Kolkata at the Salt Lake Stadium against Mohun Bagan, they were a dead team. Messi is East Bengal FC best player currently. Yeah, Messi Boli. Very good addition. We've often seen East Bengal trying to bring in, trying to bring in strikers in the winter, and most of the time it's failed. This one could be important, and I think Messi Boli could be a key factor if East Bengal want to survive and reach the semi-finals of the AFC Challenge League. Wanted your opinion regarding Vikram. Read yesterday, Bose was active. Manola, I just said it. It's shameful, and again, Subhashish Bose, this committee should actually look at it. But again, do I think that the match commissioners noted that it was, play acting and that the decision was wrong? The first thing what needs to happen is that red card needs to be removed. And if play acting is proven, then I think it should be a clear-cut punishment, because we've been seeing this quite, a number of times. He didn't do the operation because he would have been left out of squad for a long time, but yesterday was not a red for Vikram. Again, Shivam, what is personal problems does not matter. You don't do that. Again, it for me, yeah, Zidane flashback. No, Sambo, this was a different one, right? I mean, a different one from Diamantakos, what he did today. And yeah, you've been fouled, you've earned a foul. Why do you get up and get involved? Honestly, doesn't make sense. Indian football declined more than development. We had this much bad face time during the energy time. Yes, then they had bad face, but not this long. Murali, in those days, I always felt, we were not good, but we were at least trying to move to the next level. Today, uh, you know, so therefore, yeah, it's a very bad phase. Do you think the rest of the team should follow Mohammad Subhajan idea of having two really good for centre back to stop conceding unnecessary goals? Pranjal, I think some of the other teams have it, right? And we saw Monvagan yesterday, if they don't play with the two foreign centre backs, that it is even a problem for the so-called very highly praised Vishal Keth, right? So therefore, that is a thing of a reality that we don't have that quality of Indian centre backs at the moment. We are struggling with our own quality of players, and therefore, if we want to really increase the standard of the ISL, most probably we would have to talk about having actually more rather than less foreigners, right? And but that is not good, so yeah. Would you include Mahesh as a number 10 in squad? Manolo, I would include him in the squad. If he's a number 10, if he's a winger on the left, he potentially even, uh, um, he needs to be in the squad. Mahesh has done enough to prove that he needs to be part of the squad. Mahesh is physically very weak. I remember playing against Uzbeks and he was outclassed badly in physical battles. I could not. Uzbeks, Australians, I remember. But the point is, we're now going to play Maldives and Bangladesh. So from that perspective, again, at least in the South region, Mahesh can help us. And so therefore, yeah. Vikram was all over Bose. He cannot handle Vikram trickery yesterday. Mumbai City FC still have enough chances to win. Yeah, they have to blame themselves, right? How could such a senior and valuable player be so irresponsible? Manok, I don't know. You know, uh, it's unacceptable. An East Bengal man should take some action against the Mantakas. Yeah, what can you do? Fine him. The season is done. You need him now for the AFC Challenge League. Yeah. So that's what 90% of Indian players are physically weak according to national team standard. So who are the 10% players who are physically strong? What's your opinion of throwing notes at Apuya? Sambo, if you see his own reaction, if you see, I think that says it all. I said that yesterday, in the late live, where I felt that this is more of a fun banter rather than what a lot of teams do, simply abuse the player, right? So therefore, therefore, I'm fine. With that, rather than abusing the player, rather than doing that, and showing your discontent, your displeasure with what he's done, right? And if I add up what he said in the pre-match press conference, which is quite funny that the Mohun Bagan fans said, "Oh, you know what? He actually abused Mumbai City." No, he actually abused both clubs in that pre-match press conference. So if you really, and Apuya is this kind of a guy, you have to understand the nuance. You have to know the players, right? That's the problem. Fans think they know everything and understand everything. Sorry, guys, if you don't know the players and don't know the intricacies and the nuances, again, I know it's asking a lot, but that's the problem. What about standard of scouting or no option left to select? What is scouting is a problem. Who's scouting, how they're scouting. No one can tell me that we're not having better talented players to come through the system. or being found. But that's the problem. I think East Bengal must release Timmy. He's such a pain. If he does do like this in AFC, it will be a big problem for East Bengal. It could be. Blue says, lol, Diamantakos is giving Jahu vibes. But it's even worse. It is, it is just unacceptable. We cannot trust committee. They might ban Vikram for more matches instead of balls. Yeah, Mano, that's the other problem, right? We've seen a lot of very weird decisions by the district committee where right decisions have been turned around and made into yellow cards for certain teams. I don't know what it is, so therefore, yeah, that's nothing to be, yeah. By the way, sir, I know you have a soft corner for Mumbai City, which is natural for what you have done for the club, but throwing morph pick of Jack as a pig is not justifiable. Sorry, say. Yeah, it's not class, but yeah, it's could have been handled differently. Just throwing whatever out there, but Greg Stewart was crying a lot last winter and saying, oh, you know what, I need to go home, this, that, and everything, blah, blah. And then 6 months later, and you want to stay in India, and then he returns for money. So, not classy from Mumbai City on one side, but again, I think players around the world have a lot of questions to be answered on these things because they show loyalty to the badge, till the end of my life and all that kind of stuff. And a few weeks later, they're gone. And that is, I think, a problem. Hi, City. Edgar Mendes is not trying. Is he not trying, or does it look awkward sometimes? I don't know. I very, very difficult. That should also be taken care of the match commissioner and taken act upon. Obviously, you would never support such showcase for most City FC fans. Shivam, that's not a matter for the match commissioner. It's bad taste. It's not the best thing to do. It's where people would laugh about it. If you were doing this, if it would happen in Scotland with him, they would laugh about it. They would not even talk about it. But again, in India, we are, certain things are fine to do. With today's performance, do you generally think Intakashi deserves to win ISL next season? Gaurav, doesn't matter. If they win it, they deserve to be in it. Mohammedan Sporting, do they deserve to be in the ISL the way they're playing at the moment? Right? If one is honest, there are 3 teams in the I-League who can spend the money in the ISL. That's Intakashi, that is Gokulam Kerala, and that's Shuni Deccan. The rest will have their problems even worse than Mohammedan Sporting if they go on. That's reality. If I like it or not, that's the reality. Mendes always seems like he wants spoon feeding to score goals. Most of the time just falls. Yeah, he's another one. Towards the end, he was trying to win those fouls in useful areas, and he didn't get them, right? So, no, not helping. 2 teams out because of Bengaluru FC. Hope it doesn't happen to Mumbai City FC. Let's see a City. Irfan Yadwat seems to be a good player with speed, physical strength, height. Hope he performs well for national team. Mahesh, let's hope so. Well, at the end of City betrayed Apoy, he was promised a foreign City club franchise out of India. He didn't get that. Besides, Mumbai fans have no right to do moral policing. Where did they betray him? I love this story. That yet you guys seem to know better what's happened than. Didn't he go to SK Lommel to train for 2 weeks? Right? Do you know if he had an offer? He didn't have an offer from a City Football Group club that he wanted to take up or not? I love that you guys do that with confidence. Saying things. Yeah. So before putting that out, cross-check the info, Aditya. Without foreign centre-back, Mohammad Superjan exposed in every match. Exactly. We don't need physical, mental, psychological process. We need someone who will score and win matches. Sunil was never physically strong. Aditya, that is not true. Sunil has that thing, so from that process, Sunil used his physique very, very well. They did very well, and that's why also once again today did a question that if the time has come for a Sunil comeback, and if I see the way Sunil was playing today, the way Sunil was fighting today, I don't see too many Indian players doing that on a regular basis. So from that perspective, I think that is a question which should be asked, and therefore I again, to me, it is between Manveer, Irfan, and Rahim Ali. Those would be my three first choices if you ask me. But if you are, Sunil adds something. Let's see. After spending so much money for Jackson, still Shobik is the first choice CDM for East Bengal. Why not? Spending money doesn't mean, that it's going to work, right? East Bengal spent a lot of money for a lot of players. I don't know how many times Anwar Ali was beaten today by Ryan Williams before he had to go off, right? So, Petratos, Diamantakos, a lot of money spent, right? Did it work? The extension of Clayton Silva, was it worth it this season? Sal Crespo spent more time off the field than on the field, so therefore these are all decisions that I think East Bengal didn't work out. Messi Boli suddenly works. Richard Sellis was better as a defensive player today than an attacking player. He really saved them. Otherwise, I think BFC would have won the game in the end, right? So that's also a thing. Or now it was okay throwing notes, but morphing someone's pick as a pick doesn't justify it to be a fun banter. Again, sure, I said it's not good, it's not right. But if you do ask Greg Stewart, then what kind of things he's experienced in Scotland and stuff. These are things they would laugh about, right? But you're fine with certain other things, so therefore, what am I going to talk about, right? You guys are fine that the captain of the club is willing to cheat, so I'm fine. Yeah. Do not compare a Greek striker with an ISL legend, even though he left the club at such a good account. Aditya, don't make it too big. And literally orchestrated whole Odia people are stupid people eating Rasagola in a T4. Yeah. Chetri is, after all, a below average player in Indian Super League, is playing at left wing, ruined every day today. Eh? I think Aditya watched the matches. Sorry, I'll be very direct and straight. Watch the matches properly. I think Sunil Chetri's efforts needs to be complimented, and if that is something that people are not willing to see, then nothing more to add. Sir, because East Bengal FC was fine for showcasing a Tifo for Indian was fine, so I thought the same for Mumbai City FC. Shivam, a Tifo is different than throwing money, right? And if we want to go into that Tifo business, I think half of the league should be getting fines, right? There are a lot of Tifos this season which were on bad days. Once Kashi comes to ISL, they would spend a lot of money. I want them in ISL. Yeah, let's see. Gill played well. Yes, he did in goal. SCT. Good evening, Ishan. Couldn't join live due to work, so watch the previous conversation yesterday. Keep doing the good work, sir. Thank you, Ishan. Yeah, it was emotional yesterday because I am a fair play fanatic on the field. Off the field, we can do a lot of things, and I don't bother about that. But again, a lot of people have their intricacies with that. But that thing yesterday was just disgraceful. Such a shame that your friends in I-League, even after so much luck, are bottling it. But yeah, nothing lost. They're 1 point behind. Nothing won, nothing lost. This league is crazy enough. Let's see what happens. The reality is no player in the world is loyal to a club. If you give him more money, he will play for you. Again, and that is, Manolo, not the fact. There are players around the world who have stayed with bigger or with smaller clubs throughout their careers despite having offers. So there are, though, much less. I would have said 20, 30 years ago, you would have said, okay, like let's say 20, 30% of players were really loyal to their clubs. That number surely has come down, not dramatically, but surely it's come down quite a bit. But in Indian football, the loyalty has been gone for years, and it is about the money, and that's why again, if you want to talk about Indian players, why they're not moving abroad, because the money is not there, right? So that's the main problem. These players are so overpaid in this system. Yeah. I mean, if I look at Diamantakos today, I remember Diamantakos was playing at Bochum, VfL Bochum in Germany. He was playing for St. Pauli. He was a good Bundesliga 2 striker. He's nowhere near that, right? So these players also know that once they land up in India, the foreigners, and as Sunil said it, I think, yeah, Sunil said in one of the podcasts, right, that even Messi's standard would go down if he comes to India over 2-3 year period. That's the problem. That's our real problem. Your thoughts about today's match? East Bengal should have sealed the game in the first 45, and Diamantakos lost them the game. In the sense of that they needed a win, so a draw, and that draw feels like a loss for East Bengal. And again, Diamantakos has to take the blame. Again, the first one stands in the way of that Mahesh shot. If he doesn't, he's overacting. I know reactions are there, and it's so yeah, that's very difficult. Chetri, the difference yet again. Yeah, Ishan, he was there, and of course scored off the penalty, but he also put Nishu under pressure to commit that handball. Had a chance a little earlier before that where he hits the ball over the goal, and if you see the way Sunil is reacting, right? He's living the game, and this is what I need for the national team because I don't have it at the moment. Even in shorter in stature, how does Sunil Chetri is lethal in headers? SCT, very simple. Not always the biggest players are the best headers. Yeah, there's this. I remember there used to be this Chilean striker, Ivan Zamorano. I think used to play at Inter Milan, I think, for most of his career. He was great, right? Exceptional. Sunil's timing, positioning. See some of the goals that he scored this season off those Ryan Williams crosses, right? Brilliant. And that makes Sunil stand out. Again, we should never ever forget how old Sunil is. And therefore for me, yeah. So that's reality. Just by the way, the Monban Super Jam Mostly game, both keepers set goofs up. All our goalkeepers are error prone. Gurpreet Singh isn't the only one. Ishan, I've been saying this for a while. I said this after the Punjab game. He didn't concede goals, but Vishal Kate was shaky even with 2 foreign defenders in front of him. So your problem is with all our goalkeepers that they are getting exposed here or there. So I just have to put on the lights. That they're getting exposed here and there. And again, Purba Lechempa's mistakes were really bad. But again, the first one isn't his. The first one is, of course, Yul Fanif with that weird back pass. But on the other side, Vishal Kate, I think 6-7 mistakes in total yesterday. And then you realize when he's under pressure, very difficult, right? And those 2 goals, where again Mumbai City also had some luck. Yeah, so that's the reality, and we can go through the list of all the keepers. Seeing yesterday Nora Fernandez playing for the Blasters, already the 4th goalkeeper that they're trying out this season, right? So that shows you, and they're trying to sign goalkeepers. So therefore, there is suddenly that position. I mean, until last season, I would have said goalkeepers is one area where we don't need to really bother. We've got a certain level of standard, and suddenly even that is gone, right? That makes me very, very worried. Hi, Shordo. Wonder if it is very difficult to reschedule a match by FSDL. Are there too much complications because East Bengal is the only representing India at the AFC? In the group stages, if you look at both AFC Champions League 2 or the Champions League qualifiers before that, at that stage, even AFC Challenge League, all of those were factored in. Now, in the latter stages of the tournament, it gets difficult. But the point here at the end of the day is you are now in a European setting, even in Asia, where you have on the weekends your league match and your continental competition matches in the week, and then you again play in the league. So that's, again, and that is for an Indian team a little bit more difficult because East Bengal has the advantage now that they're playing today and Wednesday they're playing at home, but then they have to now travel to Shillong, which is an utterly useless game because East Bengal are out of the playoffs, but you have to travel. So the question is, do you actually rest the one or the other player who might have an injury or something, and then try and get them to fly to, fly to Turkmenistan? So therefore, Oscar has some interesting calls to make. But again, play first on the 5th. East Bengal needs to win that home game to take an advantage to Turkmenistan, and let's see what they do otherwise. Shovik will probably retire as one of the most underrated players, not the most flashy, but has always performed when it matters most. Ishan, 100% agree with you. Shovik Chakraborty, if you remember, in the old days, he started off at Mohun Bagan, even at a time at Mumbai City, Hyderabad, of course, and you know, and now at East Bengal for the last few years, I think Shovik has done for himself very, very well. Bangladesh have started their camp for the AFC qualifiers. Will we get at least a 2-day camp? Vayesh, the Bangladesh football system is a little, bit in a problem at the moment due to all the politics that is going on in that country, and and that is, I think, the main reason why they've done what they've done. And we will, post the 12th, we'll be having our camp, right? So post the ISL group stage, ISL league stage, we'll have the team. So Manolo gets, if they gather on the 12th, 13th, he'll have 5-6 days before the game against Maldives. I think I still haven't heard what happens to that game, and and therefore, yeah, well, let's see what happens, right? So therefore, for me, that's going to be interesting to see what happens on that front. But he's got a few days to prepare. Will Simeone's team can do something in Europe? Sachin, they next play Real Madrid. I think the next 2 match days in the Champions League, Bayern versus Bayer, the top clash in the Bundesliga, clash in the Champions League, and Real versus Atletico in Madrid. Yeah, some very, very interesting. And then, of course, other ties as well. The Champions League is going to be interesting. Yes, they have to beat the best in Europe, and that is Real Madrid. And then anything is possible. Maldini got so many offers but never left AC Milan. I think there are a lot of these players who have played through their careers for clubs, and let's see. City fans are talking about money. Esdas, we're talking about Mumbai City. I'm not talking about Manchester City, right? So you have to differentiate. If you understand that, then that's the start, right? But the player, Apuya, left Mumbai City because of money, right? That's the only thing. And if you want to talk about money, let's talk about the salary cap. You want to talk about the salary cap, about Monmouth Supergiant, about what Mr. Goenka has been doing for years? Let's talk about it. You want to have a conversation? You can have, Mohun Supergiant defense gets exposed when there is no foreign centre-back pair, as Mohun don't even have a proper Indian centre. The point is still growing. Debu, yeah. He's growing, and he needs match time, and he spends most of the season on the bench automatically, right? And that's the problem. Sunil has what except screen clarity, nothing else. I don't know, Aditya. This is being disrespectful for, of one of our best ever footballers, right? Sunil, important things. The most important thing is, I think, mentality, which people forget. The will to run for 90 minutes, to fight. I tell me if other players do that as well, right? But I don't see that with younger players, right? So therefore, to me, Sunil has certain traits which we do not see with young Indian footballers. And Sunil is the player where I would say, you know what, Sunil is the exception, and therefore, to me, very, very clearly, that's why I did that short video today about asking, is it time for a Sunil comeback? And if you look at the match today, yes, it is, and yeah. We lost the match when Vishnu and David missed those opportunities. In this situation, you got to convert those chances. We deserve it. Let's move on for Challenger. Shovik, no one deserves anything, right? You have to work to earn something to deserve it, right? And therefore, therefore that's the problem. That's if a Vishnu doesn't score, if a David doesn't score, again, I go to Diamantakos is the one who to me is the culprit in that. That these young players miss chances happens, right? But again, with 11 versus 11, the game most probably would have been different. Hey Shaki, good to see you after a while. I'm doing good. Seeing some matches this week, feel that Indian players post 20 matches have depleted. Do you think this is a chronic problem towards end of ISL? Yeah, Shaggy. I think the main problem is that these players are incapable at the moment of playing a longer season. It will take 3-5 years for the players to be able to play 35-40 matches, national team players, maybe even more, and that's that's the reality with our players at the moment. And of course, we're seeing that the experienced guys are holding themselves better than the younger ones, right? Consistency, talking about it. How long will Bengalis keep dominating and eating Indian football? Aditya, Bengal, as I like to say, Kolkata and its Maidan, not everything that they do is right. But there are certain things that are there. There is passion, unlike in other parts of India, to a level that you rarely see in other parts of India. So let me put it that way. And Bengalis, have been there, are there, will be there. And but again, to me also, like with every other part of India, we need to realize that we're in the year 2025 and not in, 1925 or 1955 or something. Or another, without foreign centre back, Monwagan, Subhajan have no Indian centre back. The window is growing and started. Yeah. And we go abroad for money. Yeah, Moinak, that's also very, very true about Bengalis. And Shivam says, Aditya, as long as others have not got decent amount of awareness about the game, people can even see women's cricket game, but not ISL. Yeah, that's a problem. Would a player like Jackson Irvine come from ISL to ISL from Bundesliga set to Monmas, who has replaced Greg? If he came, can he help Monbagan in both attacking defensive and ACL too? And will you watch him in St. Pauli? Sachin, I've not seen him live at St. Pauli. St. Pauli, I've been only once, but that was in the old stadium in Hamburg. Again, I would never say never, but again, if Jackson Irvine joins Mohun Bagan, that does most probably end his Australia international career, right? So that's going to be the question. St. Pauli, at the moment, 15th on the table, could stay in the Bundesliga. I don't know, playing for one of the coolest clubs in Germany, leaving that for Indian football, and it could be Mohun Bagan, could be any other club. To me, it sounds illogical, but again, money talks, right? New rule for goalkeepers: if they hold the ball 8 seconds or more, then opposition will get corner. Good rule, in my opinion. Brilliant rule, Blue. Something needed to happen. And then, of course, with the yellow cards, this and that, an indirect free kick, I think it was something which was discussed. I think corners is a good punishment. And this will, I'm interested to see if it does actually, pace up the game, that there is more action because of this decision. Going on what Sunil is, he is nothing, he was, and he is nothing. We have to move on from him, for God's sake, please. Aditya, again, if Sunil hadn't been there over the last 15 years, we would have not achieved even half of it what we achieved. And we did achieve a few things, right, as Indian football. Small things for Indian football, but without Sunil, those things would have never happened. So, and give the old man his due, give him his due, and this is disrespectful, and I wouldn't like it. Do you think a youngster not getting right input at right time, instead they're getting wrong guidance and outdated? Murali, that is one thing, and they need to upgrade themselves and not, I think this is an Insta Reel, Snapchat, I don't know, whatever generation. They need to improve. Why would someone leave Bundesliga and come to us and say he will lose a spot in national team also? I can't learn my speaking, but again, you never know. Money is the talker, and let's see. Vishnu also wasted chance first 45 minutes. Not that good performance from him for some games now. Blue, I said consistency, and he was hyped up too much in my opinion. I saw him against Mumbai. No, I said it 1.5 years ago, and a lot of East Bengal fans were unhappy with me. But if this is the player who's supposed to be your standout, I will always pick Mahesh over Vishnu. Mahesh has had his downs, but Mahesh is much more talented in my opinion. The man who was actually making difference was Ryan Williams. I agree. Ryan Williams, with his runs on the wing, created a lot of problems. And yeah, our hope is lost in Indian football because of lack of progress, because we are in same loop again and again, same pattern, way of losing. Yeah, sadly, Murali. FSL has justice to Indian football. They have stopped the Bengal Association control. They snatched it from their hand and made football pan-India. I'm happy they step up for us. I don't know what your problem is, Aditya. I think you should really think about what your problem is with Bengalis. Um, you know, yeah, because the persons that they were working together with, or a lot of people who were working with and for FSTL were actually or are actually Bengali. But hey, East Bengal is as same as Manchester United. Whichever player comes to that godforsaken club loses its touch and turns into a below average player. We'll also see that in Messi Boli. Aditya, maybe, but Messi Boli to me has done very well coming into a difficult situation into a club where there are, big expectations from the players, and he's done well for himself, I would say. Coming in now, he scored 2 goals in the last 2 games, and therefore that needs to be kept in mind, and therefore for me, no. Should Manolo think about Vishal Keth, Amrinder Singh, and national team goalkeeper? There's so much chances and created blunder mistake recent Malaysia match. Mahesh, still I think he's better than those two. Where was your Sunil when my Diego thrashed his team, scoring 2 goals in both home and away games? Aditya, where does BFC stand and where does Odisha stand? Just don't overhype it. Yeah. So, you know, there is no such thing as football being spread pan India. We always had football fans, mostly they supported European football for first few seasons. Some of these fans were tricycle because of old legends. Yeah, Rishabh, very well said. You know, and you know, and it is Indian football has grown. Let's put it this way. It had its real centers. I would have said Bengal, Goa, Kerala were the traditional ones. Then you would have said over the last 3-4 decades, the Northeast started off with Manipur, then Mizoram, Meghalaya, now even Arunachal, Assam is trying to grow, and yeah, so therefore, and therefore, yeah, it's the spread has grown ISL, but I think the spread has grown even more in the I League. And this is something which people don't understand. The I League has, or even below that, all of that has been pushed because of the ISL, because the I League needed to survive, and therefore under Sunandadhar and his team, the ISL spread forced a lot of changes on the I League. I League teams, look at the Kolkata clubs, how they were used to organize their things in 2014 and how they were organizing their stuff in 2015, 16, 17, and 18. And therefore these are the things, right? People are giving Benfica example. They have to understand that AFC Challenge League is same as Europa League, or for Europa League teams don't get free gaps. Yeah. Challenge League is Conference League, right? It's third tier. Is there any instance FIFA and AFC election got issued like we have in Federation? I wouldn't know at the moment, to be honest, Murali. Go to I League and see how many people watch those matches, and the answer is no one. Due to ISL, we got OFC fans, Chennai FC fans, Northeast FC fans, OC fans, UFC fans. So yeah. Aditya, I wouldn't say that, right? You have teams with fans. You've had fans who have fans, but how many fans do all these clubs? And I take Mumbai City into this conversation as well. But how many fans have really stayed? Even clubs like a BFC has gotten less. Northeast United has dramatically dropped over the years. Chennai has dropped dramatically, and even Mumbai City with a bad season, right? And OFC, yeah, so I don't even know how many fans you guys have, right? And you guys don't even, I wouldn't even know if you have a future or if OFC becomes, I don't know, AFC or something next season. So what are we talking about? Francesco Totti as Roma. Yeah, that's why not? If we go through, we will find a lot of players who've stuck with their clubs. I could even say, even with a loan spell as a young player, I could say Philipp Lahm at Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich has had a lot of these players over the years, right? Why are the chances of East Bengal winning Challenge League? Kuwaiti guys are confident they will lose 4-0 to Arkadag and the club will face Arkadag in semis. And well, why are we talking? I don't know why we always go overboard with these kind of things. Let East Bengal face Arkadag, let them get to the semi-finals, and then we can talk about the rest, right? So therefore, let East Bengal play against Arkadag. They've got 2 matches. Let's see what can happen. I would hope East Bengal can pull it off, but it will not be easy. So any update on the handball project that you were doing in India that you can share publicly? Nothing to share publicly, Ishan, at the moment. I will most probably be back later this month for the project. So it's going well. It's moving ahead. And let's see when something can be announced. But at the moment, I've got nothing to announce on that. Sunil Chetri has never scored more than 11 goals in ISL season. At the age of 40, he scored 12. However, yeah, that just shows, right? Class. About the Bose Vikram incident, I understand what people are mad about at Bose, but it's referee who was the main culprit and no one will care if Bose does that in Bangladesh game. Pranjal, even I would think, and I said that yesterday in the live, and I also said it later on, I felt the 4th official was the one who should have seen it because it happened in front of him. And that's why you saw that the whole Mumbai City bench was actually going towards him and trying to say, hey, didn't you see it? Didn't you see it? Didn't you see it? Right. And that's to me is the challenge, that person should be the one who should have seen it and should have intervened, but he didn't. And therefore, that's the problem, that there is. And therefore, yeah, that's the thing. So, yeah, if you are okay, commentator said referee didn't bother asking fourth official who was standing there. How can the commentator know? Is he following? Sorry, then my question is, the commentator can't know what the communication is between the referee and the 4th official via the headset, right? Rushabh, as explanation to Aditya, ISL viewership and attendance on decline each and every season, and you want to compare with I-League, FSL can't spend on glamour anymore. In fact, the decline started right into 4th, 5th season. Yeah, it's a general problem. Ornavda, can you explain how that Mahesh goal can be counted even if they being in offside position? Shovik, it can't. He was in the way of the goalkeeper. He put his foot up. That's an active movement. Yeah, so there is no way that goal stands, sadly as it is. Liston for national team, yes or no? Hannibal, yes. We don't. We have to be honest enough to ourselves that we don't have those options to say, this player, that player, we pick this player, we pick that player. We do not have that option. We need to, these players are there, and these players then need to play for us. Man, I really like the German player Dücker in ISL. He was a top player, but had an unfortunate season with Chennai. So yeah, Dücker was one. There was one earlier at East Bengal as well, but yeah, that's the reality. ISL viewership, mostly TV viewership, has grown after lockdown. ISL has become 6th most searched sports league in Google India. The main thing, which is lost, is going down and down every week. Most searched sports league on Google. Yeah, but what does that mean? People are not watching it, but it's being searched. What does it bring? It's not helping us, no? What Dimi should have... Listen, Dimi was in the way. So Dimi was fighting with himself once more. Indragati was angry with not getting the ball, and he should have just moved out of the offside position. That's what he could have done. Was watching old Madrid videos today where is Gareth Bale these days? Pranjal, Gareth Bale, until a while ago, was playing golf as far as I know, but certainly was not doing anything in football as far as I know. Maybe I don't know if anyone has an update. Yeah. Can you say bad things about ISL as much as you want, but at the end of the day, if ISL shuts down, then those people who complain about won't even look at Indian football. Aditya, I think it's not what you're seeing, you know? Even I-League would get ISL level attendance if there was much cash in ISL. There's nothing to boast about. That's the problem. That's the point, right? But nothing. It's nothing sustainable. That's the biggest problem. Chetri probably still is the best Indian player among all. Looks like it. If you look at today, does players like Jason Cummings, man, get $1 million a year salary? Close to it or a little more. No question on Chetri, please. Monarch, agree on that. And I'm sorry, stating facts which you can't digest. Okay, guys, be friendly to each other. Sad to say this, but a lot of players in local 7 tournaments in Kerala play better than most of the Indian ISL players. Mahesh, it might look at that, but put those 7-a-side players into an 11-a-side field, and most of them would fail. You know. So just take the top Indian goal scorers in ISL. You're against one of the league toppers. Laughable. Sad to see this. Yeah, that's the problem, right? That's where we stand with this. Vishnu lacks vision while delivering final passes. Monak, and that's something which you can't change. It's the same thing as when players, coaches say, oh, you know what, I can't put Sahal into a system because Sahal is, very difficult to put him into a system. So these are our problems that we face. Today I posted in social media about tagging Manolo to bring back Sunil. Some guys are saying we have David. True, and this shows the ignorance and the lack of understanding. Yeah. How good a player is Jackson? Jackson is the captain of Australia, and he's an established player here in the German system. Good player. How do German fans feel about the globalization of football? Anirudh, I think German football fans don't care much about the globalization of football, and those who care keep themselves informed. Due to ISL broadcast on Star Sports, my father started watching ISL. I was shocked when I saw my father watching ISL on his TV. But that's good, right? That's good, right? Sigimis also have a great knack for football. Monarch, how could I forget? Yes, otherwise Baichung, So that's it. Once upon a time, Mumbai City by a whole champion FC Goa squad, and we just took one player. Fans are burning. Try and justify things. Nice. Again, this has been the model of Mohun Bagan, East Bengal, and Mohammedan since they've been formed, right? How many players have these clubs created, right? So let's not talk about that, right? You want to get in that conversation, you're going to lose it. Should East Bengal set aside budget for ISL and referees? Sanjay, what do you want me to answer? I mean, do you want me to give you a stupid answer to a stupid question? Yeah. Right? What today was wrong from the ref? What decision was wrong today from the ref? East Bengal, most of the decisions, East Bengal were not problem of the referee. I mean, how East Bengal has set a record, of red cards in the ISL. Question that. Introspect. Don't blame others for your own failures. That's what I always say. Why is rumors of Jackson Irvine spreading on social media? Is it because he's an Aussie? I've not seen anything here in Germany, and that's my thing. Just let me check one platform which actually has good rumors on German football. If that has been action, or is it just an Indian football talking point? To me, Just 1 second. Let me try and find. Just give me a second. Let me just search something. Because at least here in Germany, there's no rumor about it. So at least I'm not seeing anything. Hashkun had a very good game today. It's rare in ISL. Moinak, I don't think it's so rare. Right? So that's the point. 6 of Sunil's goals are from penalties. Chandra, yeah, but still, even a lot of players will yeah. After watching today's match, I feel Sunil Chetri must be called up for national team. Again, I said that in the morning. And I stick to that. We don't have options. We don't have options. We need to look at what we can do, and Sunil is that option to us, right? So let's see what happens. Is there any update on grassroots development at AIFF? Nothing. Yeah. Haven't heard anything. I don't know what is happening with the grassroots or the baby leagues or whatever they're called, Blue Cup leagues or whatever. Let's see. What is the prediction for I-League? Football India, I said from the start, then I think Inter Kashi, but again, they blew it today against Real Kashmir, 1-3 loss in the end. So, yeah, let's see. Have you seen Chalmar FC highlights? Looks like every single one. There's a Ronaldo fantasy goal is a banger. Yes, I've seen some of the highlights, and at the moment, it looks very, very likely that they will play. That they might come and play I-League next season. And it could be that Aizawl FC gets relegated, which would be an interesting turnaround. Age is on the wrong side of Sunil. International matches are different things. Agreed, Sanjay, but I'll tell you an example. I saw 1.5 years ago, or no, nearly 2 years ago, in training, India team training in Bangalore. And at that time, the most agile and the most running was being done by a certain Sunil Chetri. And knowing Sunil, he is more fit than the others. I mean, if he's able to stay on for 90 minutes in now these slowly warmer getting conditions in Kolkata, these with a little bit of higher humidity, then you know that this guy is a little different. And therefore, again, Sunil is not a normal player. That's the thing that we need to keep in mind, right? Sunil Chetri is a different level. International football intensity is much higher than ISL. Scoring goals in ISL is not so great. Bobby Jacob, I think, no disrespect, but that is a little too harsh. Ananda, it's strange. We, meaning Monmouth and Supergiant, don't even have a women's team. Yeah, they will. It's again, that's the thing. Aman commented on Dimi's post, and after that, everyone started making rumors. Okay, that's where it's come from. Okay, again, those guys most probably know each other from Australia, back in Australia. So we saw 2 headbutt in ISL this season. New trend. Maybe not. Jackson Irwin coming to ISL, wasn't he one of the best Australian performers recent years after the World Cup? Yeah, that's why I'm a little surprised. He's playing Bundesliga. He's 31. Dimi shouldn't have done it too naive from him. Even then, it's a yellow card offense. No, it's a straight red. It's unprovoked action. It's a straight red for me. There is no rumor about Jackson in our main groups. Probably some random YouTuber posted it and people are talking about it. It's not possible in my... yeah. Dom, Apuya twice, both handles the ball in penalty box, but referee unseen. Sanjay, didn't Nanda Kumar handle the ball against Mumbai City? I mean, it happened in front of my face. It was so evident. Don't show and point the fingers in others. And in the match in Kolkata, which Mumbai City won 3-2, there should have been 2 red cards for East Bengal. Hey, but who's asking? Right? So therefore, in every game, if you want to, you can go around and pick things. Have you seen Fanai's performances this season? Yes, I have. And give him a little time. Let's see. Last night, there was this Moonmount fan taunt back at Mumbai City FC fans. At first, it looked like friendly banter, but then some Mumbai City fans tried to throw him out, which he was later hate to say that these guys get offended. Yeah, I mean, it's part of the problems, you know. Yeah, but that's, you know, fans always get offended when the team is down, and if an away fan is present in the stand, they complain like kids and kick them out. Can't believe we can't be banter friendly. That's should be better, right? Should be better. How is German style and philosophy different from Dutch style and Spanish style? Devu, the Dutch have been running in a philosophy of Johan Cruyff for now. For 50 years, 50 plus years. I just continue talking. 1 second. For over 50 years, the Dutch have a style, you know, it's attacking minded, a 4-3. A 3-4-3, sorry, is the ideal one. That's the one that they like to play at Ajax. That's how they want to build up and play. The Spanish have built a different version of Cruyff's football, which is then, you know, a combination of sort of what Real Madrid play and what Barca play. But it's all possession based. I mean, I saw that when I went to Malaga, how these kids play. It's really, really impressive how these small little kids play that way. That's why I was a few weeks ago a little surprised that Manolo said, "Oh, I've seen kids at FC under 13, under 15, under 17 level, you know, who can potentially compete with Spanish kids." I still am surprised because he said that. And on the other side, it is something, it is something where German football has the philosophy has changed over the last 25 years, you know, 2000 change of philosophy in general. That has changed over the last 5-7 years again. We like to play a 4-2-3-1 is sort of the preferred formation. They're trying to change the formats with the kids, you know, that they're more on the ball. It's become too, pragmatic sometimes, but we want creative players. We want Florian Wirtz kind of characters. We want players like Jamal Musiala, you know, who are technically very, very gifted and very, very good. And that is something which the German system is working towards. And therefore, it is different. It is different. If you see, we see that in the ISL, you know, the best quality of football players are most probably the Spaniards, right? So therefore, there's a different system. There's a different understanding of football from these different countries per se. Right. Over an hour already. If you haven't, please do like the video, share it if you think, you know, it's something, 14 likes so far, that other people can join in our conversations. And if you want to come back for regular updates onto the channel, do subscribe. We're at 2,314 people who now have subscribed to Arunfoot. So thank you very, very much. And we're slowly but clearly growing as a community. Sunil Chetri can do a Pandev. Let's hope. Aizol being related, is that a good move by management to not play foreigners? Relegation is always bad for him. Acha. Only they now have a foreigner. At least the centre back is foreigner in their squad. Aizawl took a decision, and and they have to live with it. And again, do they have the best Mizo talent available? They don't, because I think some of the better players are even at Chanmari at the moment. Um, you know, let's wait and see. According to Ranjit Bajaj, Interkashi paid AIFF over the table. Over the table, right? Not under the table, right? Again, low. Yeah, read it, laugh a little, and then forget these statements. It is hilarious. If you were there and tried your best to convince Sunil, what is your opinion? His response would be, if I speak to Sunil, he would have surely come back, huh? No. So, jokes apart, I think if I was talking to Sunil, I would surely try and speak to him and try make him understand, and therefore, yeah, let's see what he would do. Today's penalty was a clear decision. Even the East Bengal players didn't protest ball hitting fully outstretched hand. Yeah, Achut said that, but again, there are supposedly some fans who are saying, "Oh no, that was against us or something." It's something that is there, and I will have to say that both the red card and the penalty and all the other decisions were actually right today. Normally, German football was stereotyped being mechanical and boring, but now players like Marcelo Wirtz are breaking it. Yeah, they were not only that, but I think we've changed our football over the last. I think Pep Guardiola had his influence in his time at Bayern Munich, Klopp with the way he plays, and therefore, uh, that's the point. Both calls were spot on today, penalty and offside both. Yeah, not only that, as I said, the red card as well. Dada, please reach out to Mumbai City FC management. Away stand needs to be made cheaper as fans enter the home ones. I even heard there was a brawl with Manjapara folks yesterday that Mohun Bagan was about to get beat up. Okay. Yeah, I will make them aware of this fact. After watching yesterday's both matches, I think clubs should take action against these referees. Suresh, what action do you want the clubs to take? What actions should these clubs take? That would be my question to you. Simple question, right? Yeah. Raim Ari seems to have added a defensive side to his game, will help him in the national team in case he plays as a winger. Ishan, very important point, which I've mentioned a few times over the last few weeks. I feel that he is a better player than what he's shown himself to be. I think that's a fact in my opinion. And yeah, and he needs to show it on a regular basis, right? Again, even as a striker, dropping back, helping out the midfielders, Raim Ali can do a lot. So it's good. Was Alberto brought by Habas? No, sure. He was gone, right? So he has nothing to do with that. Messi Woli has been a breath of fresh air, has added a dimension that East Bengal lacked all season. Yes. Messi Woli seems to have come at the right time for East Bengal, doing very well for them. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting player, interesting profile, one would say, without having seen the player. But then if you see the way that he's been playing, that has been quite impressive to say the least. And he's done very, very well for himself and for the club. So therefore, from that perspective, he's added something. And of course, in the last two games, he scored. So I hope that with that, he can add something for the AFC Challenge League campaign. So let's hope Messi Boli is that factor. I still feel Indian football system needs a German input since we lack discipline, teamwork, physicality, and commitment, all of which the Germans have mastered over the years. Maybe a collab with German clubs, influx of German coaches or players. Listen, I've attempted, you know, uh, you know, uh, we've tried, and to do some stuff, but the Indian side never got to do what was needed. Be it from a federation to federation angle perspective, be it also from a Bundesliga to AIFF or league perspective, also be it from clubs perspective. With Bayern, we've done a few things over the years. Borussia Dortmund want to do, so yeah, that's the thing. I like the energy of both Messi and Richard for club. Yeah, Shivash seems to be positive, but Messi Boli to me is more clinical. I saw Richard Sellers in Mumbai when they played Mumbai City. Good dribblings, good skills, but yeah, this is something which is Messi Boli is just a little bit better, I would say, on that front. Last Bengal fans causing trouble in VVIP. Chetri owns them as always. Tried to scratch my scarf. VFC is my badge. Never letting go. Tweeted by N. Chin Maya with 2 videos. Oh God. This year, OFC fans also did the same with some Mohun Bagan fans in Kalinga who went to home stands. I think this is something. Your opinion about this has happened sometimes now after away fans went to home. I think there are 2 things. Be rivals on the pitch. We know in Germany, of course, sometimes it's very, very hard, but we always say be rivals on the pitch. But after the match, you should be able to have a beer together, right? Even here, it doesn't always work because the rivalries are some are very, very rough these days. But to me, that is, I think, a very, very important thing that if you want to enjoy a good game of football, enjoy the game, enjoy the game, right? Don't if an away fan is in your block, again, except if he's creating a nuisance, um, allow him to stay in the block. What's the problem? I think that's something that the home fans, and if this happened today at the VVIP stand from East Bengal side, then that's wrong. I know it's happened at Mohun Bagan. OFC's mentioned, um, you know. So therefore, that's something Rushabh has mentioned. Mumbai City as well. There have been issues between BFC and Blasters fans in the past. Chennai as well has been involved in this. It's something, as I say, that then the fan culture needs to grow up. No? It needs to be a little different, and because and it's like some people talk about pyros, right? I'm very critical about that. Be it here, be it anywhere in the world, and in India, a lot of people celebrate using pyros. And pyros, I say that here locally at Remscheid, which our fans love to do once in a while. Yeah, that's the thing. I take this, and then I'll take your earlier question after Ishan. I feel all this is because Indian fans are watching national leagues for the first time. Looks like this is out hooliganism phase. It will mellow down with time, like in case of England. Ishan, the Kolkata clubs have been around for over 100 years. So how is this a mellow down? So therefore, yeah. So therefore, for me, yeah, that's why it's a problem. Sana had some brain fade moments today. Needs to do better if he wants the national team return. Yeah, he's got that thing. And again, Rahul Beke is the better centre back. Timmy hasn't impressed me this season. In brackets, ignoring today's red cards. Yeah, Ochut, he's not performed. That's a fact. And he's been arguing too much. Angry with his own teammates. I don't know. And he's not happy with himself. Huh? And looking at that, a player like him, I don't know. it's not, in my opinion, just not being good enough, right? And that's something which I think he knows and he feels, he understands that he has to do much better. But he wasn't able to do that, and therefore, yeah, that's something, yeah. And I don't know, you know. So yeah, I have never seen any big club other than Bayern who have invested in India and various fields like international academies and hosting friendlies to regional marketing. Rama Mullah cheering. Uh, as someone who's been involved in what Bayern has done over the years, I mean, I was involved organizing the match in Kolkata, Delhi, of course, the India friendly. Baichung's testimonial was my idea. Um, I remember we've done a lot of things, and also with youth camps and other things, but none of it clicked. Borussia Dortmund has done a few things. They're actually working with an NGO in Tamil Nadu at the moment. Wanted to do something with Hyderabad FC, but then COVID was there. Same happened with RB Leipzig and FC Goa. Other stuff, tried some stuff with Wolfsburg. All of these things didn't come really in fruition, and yeah, that's the reality at the moment. I hit Pyro too, especially in Rangan. You don't have water bottle alongside. Yeah, Blue, that's a problem. And it's an issue. As you say, water itself is an issue at the Solid Stadium. Actually, I noticed toxicity grew after post-COVID. Yeah, it's Blue. I think is it a general trend in society that that toxicity has exponentially grown, be it when we talk about politics, when we talk about sports and other things. So to me, those are the problems, right? Those are the problems, and where do we stand? What do we need to do to try and change things, the scenario, the problems, the issues, that we move ahead in the right direction. That's our challenge, right? And this, I don't know. Again, as I say, we have that in Germany, and I say that again and again and again and again. Be rivals on the field. After that, be it as players, or be able to have a chat, coaches and especially fans. And that is in India, I don't know. And you are actually in the same boat as fans. You might support other teams, but normally we should be supporting all together one team, and that's Team India, right? So it should be that when we are rivals in club football, that when we come together to support the Indian national team, that we can stand together. Right? That to me is the most important thing, and therefore for me, yeah, it's something which I'm very disappointed. Orna, can we expect we are light next season? Taposh, I don't think so. Let me start differently as I like to start. I don't even know if we have a next season in the ISL. So therefore, that's the first question. All those who cry and want to have it amongst the clubs, they themselves are saying, why should we invest? So that's the problem. So therefore, for me, I don't see even a light version of VR coming up, because in India, it's not like in Bhutan. In Bhutan, you put it up in Thimphu, you've got one main venue, you're sorted with your VR light. In India, you would have to have, X options. The referee training would have to start. If we're saying that you want to have VR starting in September next year in the ISL, then the training of the refs now need to start now. 6 months of training. So yeah. What do you say about the player Kuru, and do you think Dipendu deserves place in U23 squad? Taposh, I don't even know. And the under 23s need to come together. I don't even know if and when the under 23s are playing next. But yeah, Dipendu, at least part of the squad. Kuru, I'm still not very clear about Kuru. I've said that multiple times. The guy does his job. He scored again yesterday, but and he's played nearly the whole season. at his age, he's still a teenager, very, very respectable. But I don't honestly, I don't know. You guys tell me. I don't know where to fit him in. We have become too judgmental about everything, and basic manners are non-existent. Uchut, very, very well said, and especially the second part about basic manners. I would add that the basic respect that I have for you or you have for me, that has been lost. So to me, that is a big, big problem generally in life, and that is also in football or in sports. And in Indian football, the biggest problem is that if your team does something wrong, you're not willing to accept that. A lot of fans have that tendency, and I say, listen, it doesn't matter which team you support. Your team is not above anything. They will do mistakes, and our players will do mistakes, and you have to call it out, right? If you don't call it out, then it is a problem, and therefore we've had too many. Let's see. We won't see VR anytime soon. There's a 40+ page on prerequisite of any form VR on FIFA's website, plus VR Lite can be used during the limitation of cameras and production, plus India is big. Yeah, Puthiraj, very well explained. You can't, again, even the IFA came around and said, oh, you know what, you're going to set up our own version of VR, and that whole thing sort of seemed to have disappeared. It's no longer visible anymore. To me, that is a good example that, you have an idea, you want to do something, but the prerequisites are so complex and complicated that no one can just say, hey, listen, I've got some version of VR happening. That's the thing. We have an under 23 squad. Supposedly once in a while, every 2 years, we do, yeah. Guru should try to go out and explore, but he already has a long-term contract with Calabasas. Yeah, but Puthiraj, as I said, I'm not sure. I'm impressed on one side that this young boy has actually played a whole ISL season, but I'm not sure where to fit him in, right? And that to me is, he's there, he has an influence, but what is it, right? And that then raises question. So that's it. The other day, an unknown person on Facebook told me, keep your analysis in your pocket. I didn't reply. Yeah, sadly, that's the best thing to do. Normally, one should reply, and one have a, tell these people, that everyone has a right to say something or analyze something. And again, if you have knowledge, then it's even better. But these are the things that happen these days, and it's a huge problem, right? It's a huge problem, and I'm not sure how we can change that, perception, which is there, right? To me, that's the biggest problem. And I remember, I got my own little shitstorm when I said that, after the Mumbai City game, East Bengal fans have nothing to complain about referees, because the referee that they favored them, right? And therefore, that's the reality, so therefore, that's yeah, right. So, as I always say, you don't need to agree with me. No one needs to agree with me in that way, right? I have an opinion, and yeah, luckily most of the times I'm right. I can say, or I can claim, but otherwise, what are we talking about, right? To be honest, I don't even blame general public. Just look how Trump was talking to Zelensky, and with these leaders, what to expect from their followers. Same to India. Well said, Blue. But that's why I said yesterday also, right? We need to be above that, right? That's why I also said, if Shubhashish Bose was my player, I would have a word with him about it. I don't know if Molina will do that, or anyone at the club will do that. I doubt the club will do that, but Molina maybe. And that is something where your standards, your ethics come in, and that is which is massively lacking in Indian football these days. And the generation earlier, you would have said, oh yeah, also about money, this and that, everything. Yes, but there was something. That's my concern. Why the Indian national team has gone where it's gone. It's like saying, listen, let me reactivate Baichung, let me get a ready to play. They would give everything for that shirt, even though they couldn't do what they were able to do in their prime. But they would give everything. Are the younger players really doing that? To take it to a different level. Anything I say, some whataboutery will come in social media. Very right, Blue. And that's the problem, right? Everyone, we've had this case today with someone trying to explain us things as if he knew everything. And the point to me is very, very simple, that you can read. My take on this is very simple. You can read as much as you want. You can read everything that is available. But if you're not involved and know what the reality is, it is very, very difficult to judge it. And therefore, that is something which I say, which Indian football fans know 5% or less of what really is happening in Indian football, right? And even I said, Aditya asked me the other day, oh, can you tell us this? I said, I won't. I know a lot of things, but I will not. For me, very, very clearly, that's why I've cut down on my social media posts dramatically. I don't need to have discussions on that, but if I want to put out my viewpoint once in a while, but that is something which is this, and this is a lovely platform to discuss with you. That's why I'm very happy that we have this thing here on YouTube here in the channel, that we can discuss things, and we can have an open, honest conversation on things. And again, and as I say, if I'm wrong on something, I will say I'm wrong. And again, I will, if Mumbai City does something wrong, or if France does something wrong, I will say that. But the others need to do the same thing. Your prediction for East Bengal's AFC Challenge League quarterfinal match? Shomo, I hope and I wish East Bengal win. How? Honestly, I don't care. But Orkodag is a tough opponent. So my first wish is, that you win the home game. If ideal result would be a 2-0. A 2-0 gives you, breathing space. And the rest, we'll have to see. Right? People believe they know everything. Yes, Blue, that's the problem. Read up, that's the problem. So, and this is where where it has taken Indian football. Whoever shouts the loudest thinks that he knows the best, and that has not helped Indian football in the last few years or decades rather. Putiraj says, meanwhile, Bangladesh seems to be heading to Saudi for 2-week preparatory camp for upcoming qualifiers. Plus, do you think will Hamza really start the matches as soon as he joins the national team? Putiraj, they are going there because, again, Bangladesh has its own set of problems at the moment. And Hamza Chaudhary will come fresh from championship football at Sheffield United. So from that perspective, if he comes in, the Bangladesh fans will go onto the barricades if he doesn't start. So I think he will surely be starting. I don't even know, he might be made captain. I don't know. So he will, if he's there, and again, something could happen still in the next 15 days. If he's there, he will surely play. Which system and formation, according to you, is currently the best and consistent? Devu, it depends on the team. Right? You will have teams who are good in a 4-2-3-1. There are good teams which have 4-3-3, 3-4-3, 3-5-2. There is no one system. I at least feel there is no system which is superior to other systems. It depends on how you play your games, and from that perspective, I think you build your teams, and also I also feel it's good coaches realize what kind of player material they have available, and they mold their team according to that, and not force teams into a formation that very often fails or takes time to really for a team to adopt. 1 hour 30 minutes. Once more, the reminder: if you have listened, liked what you're hearing, what you're seeing, do leave a like behind, and 16 likes so far. Share it with other people to join in our conversations. And as I said, do subscribe also to the channel. As I said, 2,314 subscribers at the moment. What do you think about the women's team performance against Russia, Korea? Mahesh, I didn't see it. So therefore, very difficult. And two teams better than us, even though South Korea didn't have its best players who play in Europe, but still these are two teams. So these are kind of matches which are good exposure for our women's team. Ranjit Bajaj beefing in the Kashi school boy fans now. Yeah, I don't know. He needs someone to pick up a fight. Huh? Which ones do you prefer, especially if some Indian club or team have to play? I think in India, our players prefer a 4-man backline. If I look at the defensive unit, and then it's a 4-2-3-1 is a good system, or it's a 4-3-3 depending on the players available. I want a team to play in a system with which it can win, right? So therefore, as I said, it can be this way, it can be that way. It just has to suit us, and then we need to get a result out of it. Nothing more, nothing less. And therefore, for me, be it at club or be it at a national team, that's something that I feel, it could be even a 4-1-4-1 system, if that helps. So therefore, there are different systems that you can play, and which one suits you the most, you have to decide and you have to choose, and then you'll most probably find something which works for you, right? And that's as I say, that's the challenge. That's the challenge at the end of the day, that one has to figure out which one works for you or not. Heard about Messi coming to India late 2025 or early 2026. Yeah. Let's see. I mean, what happened to the Argentina match? Wasn't he supposed to come in October to Kerala to play? What are East Bengal's chances in the AFC? Bleak? Or should they? Honestly, if they're able to play like in the first half today, why not? But they will need to take an advantage to Turkmenistan. They will need at least a 1-goal, 1-0 or 2-1 or something. But ideally, if you take a 2-0, then something could be possible. A draw makes it very difficult. Yeah. Will a I-League 2 team owner be I-League Association president? Is this a question or an observation, Blue? The I-League 2 clubs are not included in the I-League Association, right? That I-League Association is only for I-League clubs, if I'm right. If I'm right, I don't know. Any news about online broadcast of East Bengal's AFC Challenge League match? Normally the AFC has been showcasing matches, so I'm not sure. Let me just check once on the AFC platform. No, they haven't, and most probably they'll put up. Normally, the AFC has been showing matches. So I remember the AFC was showing matches of East Bengal's group stage. Do Mohun Bagan East Bengal also have a cricket team? Pranjal, they have a cricket team. They have a hockey team as well. Do you think more players will walk out of their existing contracts like Jahu did if they're not handed heavy fines or bans? Shoma, I don't know what happened. I still don't know what happened. Supposedly, it was something that happened with Jimena Lobera. And then the question is, what does the club do? The club normally needs to stand on the side of the coach, right? Because that's part of him. And to me, Mm, that's the difficult one. And um, and the Jao situation, yeah, is not a good one for Odisha. Fancode will stream it. Fancode will stream it in India, but I think Ochul was asking more about the international broadcast. And normally, as I've said, the AFC has been showcasing matches on YouTube in a lot of territories, except if the rights are sold. But I don't think that the AFC Challenge League rights have been sold anywhere. High hopes on Manolo as he is a brilliant tactician and good at creating youngsters. Um, Debu, yeah, but the national team is different than doing working in a club side. I think that's the biggest difference for Manolo. That if you look at his work in the club scene at Hyderabad FC and now in FC Goa, that he's brought up good quality players. The national team, you don't have that much of time. You have to set your team within 5 to 7 days, find solutions. You don't have foreigners also, right? That's the key thing. So therefore, he always has a trusted player. Uday was there in Hyderabad and now in Goa. He had Joao Victor, now he has Carl McHugh. Um, yeah, that's the reality, right? But let's see. Then why don't they play in IPL, Ranjil? Because IPL is a different format than they play. I think they play in Bengal, if I'm right, in some Bengal league. How to stop Churchill brothers from winning I League to save ISL? A lot of the I League is so crazy only because Churchill won yesterday and Inter Kashi lost today. Next round it might be the other way around and Kashi might be top again. So yeah, they can make money through IPL and spend it on ISL, especially East Bengal. But Pranjal, the cricket system is different, right? One city, one club actually exists in the IPL, you know. So and to compare cricket with football doesn't make sense. Ochut steps in. The domestic cricket structure is very different from that of football, in my opinion. If the domestic structure was proper, you wouldn't require the IPL in the first place. Yeah, very true. Who actually runs the AIFF today? Currently the AIFF Secretariat is being run by Anil Kumar Prabhakaran, the Secretary General, um, with the team and staff. It would have been better if the Indian Arrows was still present, then there would have been a proper national team system. Yeah, agree with you. I've always said that that getting rid of the Indian Arrows was a big blunder, a big mistake by the AIFF, in my opinion. How does other national team functions, especially the coaching and technical staff members of senior team during the domestic season when not playing or preparing for international matches? Um, um, like any other national team, Prithviraj, these coaches normally are tracking their players, are looking at watching games, and then and then they come together, train, and then play matches. Do you like this existing format for ISL where the season ends with a playoff for the cup? Shomo, I tell you a story from 2013 and 14. I was in 2012, 13. I was involved in the conceptualizing stage for a while of the ISL, and 2014, of course, I was setting up Mumbai City FC, and I was not a fan of the ISL playoffs, to be very honest. But I remember there were certain people who were clearly saying, "Listen, this is needed in Indian context to make the league at the end of the year very interesting." And if I look at it 11 years down, I have to be honest enough to say that yes, the ISL needed the playoffs. It is a necessity of the league that the playoffs work. You know, and to me, um, some of the most exciting games over the last few years have actually been in the playoffs. The IPL isn't even a domestic system. It's a money-making machine. That's it. Yeah, but it see, the thing is it's not, it's there, but it is actually your real domestic league, because the state system that you have in cricket and football is the only exception, right? There's no other sport in India which really has a proper club structure at a national level. And the IPL model has been copied. So therefore, let's see, and therefore that comparison is bad. Hi Pujon, we should approach the game to get at least +2 lead before we play Arkadak in their home. We gave to go all gun blazing that day. We have to play for the crest now. High time. I like Oscar's approach. I too, but there's need to be some hard talking, I think, from Oscar after today's match. I think today's match will also be, he now has to psychologically build up the players again, because this was a heartbreak to concede a 90-minute penalty and then draw the game and be out of the ISL playoffs. But it sharpens the focus, but on the other side, we'll have to wait and see. Very interesting to see. IPL is a franchise league, just like ISL first 3 seasons. The actual domestic cricket season is the Ranji Trophy, Vijay Hazare, and other interstate trophies. Yeah, but the ISL was never a franchise league as in a cricket sense. So therefore, that's a little different. See, East Bengal should have an advantage as Arkadak hasn't had any competitive matches when season ended in December and new season gets to start. Shomo, again, this is something which can be seen as an advantage, but sometimes also a disadvantage, because East Bengal has played a lot of games, and on the other side, these guys are fresh. East Bengal has to travel a lot in these next not even next 2 weeks, but next 10 days. So therefore, for me, it can be a factor, might not, but especially East Bengal's traveling will make them quite tired, I think, in the next 2 weeks. That's quite a harsh bit of travel that East Bengal have to fulfill in the next few weeks to be ready for their game. So therefore, that's something which is there. But they should take heart from, especially the first half today. That was a good game. That was a very good game in the first half. Should have scored more, but they didn't. Let's see. If Clayton is fit, we should be starting with 6 foreigners, given the physical match. Arkadak plays physical. What's your take? Arkadak will play very physical because they are Central Asian, Russian style. I don't know if Clayton is fit enough to start and play. I think that would be my first question. Because your problem is, if you're playing with all these players, you've got four attacking players. My concern is defense. I don't know. Do you know anything about Anwar's Ali injury? Is it anything serious today? That would be a concern. Mohamed Rakib played a very good game today, but left back seems to be an issue at the moment with Lakra and with Chonunga. So, yeah. So, very interesting. But to me, East Bengal needs to win the first game. If East Bengal has any chance to progress, they will have to do a good. Forget playing a good game. Get a result. That's more important to me. Anwar won't be available. Oscar indirectly hinted and confirmed, and that already is a problem, right? Because East Bengal don't have a second foreign centre back. Right? I think East Bengal can play without Clayton, in the sense of playing 5 foreigners, because I don't know how fit Clayton is to be playing. Yeah. I think ISL should revamp their matchday schedule from next season, keeping most matches in weekends, but it's like not possible since the TRP factor won't work well, so many matches are there in one day. Devu, I don't think that's an option. I think the broadcaster, now with Star being back as the official broadcaster, being also a stakeholder in the league, this will not change. I'm actually a fan of this 1 match a day, except Saturdays to me, and because the ISL has proven numerous times over the last few years that people are saying, oh, matches on weekends will draw more fans and this and everything, which has not been the case. So that's also another thing. So yeah, it's a unique thing for the ISL. So let's see. Lachung Nunga will start, yeah, and then you already got me worried because in Asian competition he's more likely to be carded than that would Lachung Nunga will be seen as a weakness by Arkadak because of all the suspensions he's picked up this season. But let's hope he has a good game. I think a lot will depend on Hector Yuste and on Saul Crespo. And let's see. And it's hopefully going to be an interesting game, and hopefully East Bengal can get a result at home. That's my only wish at the moment. And yeah, then we'll see. Right, nearly 1 hour and 46 minutes, so 90 minutes plus added time. So therefore that is something. Clubs playing continental football suffer due to the schedule. At least 2 on Saturday and 2 on Sunday would be better. They won't know. It doesn't make a difference because East Bengal's schedule has been done in a way because they were done in the winter and it was clear at that time that they would play. So therefore they have, listen, look at their schedule. They've got 3 days between matches. That's an European Cup week, right? So therefore if you're playing continental football, that is added pressure on you and you have to live with it. So therefore the other teams, there's only one team at the moment. And if you've got 2 teams playing, then you can schedule it in that way. But otherwise, it's not a problem. In my opinion, it's not a problem of the scheduling of the league, that you have to sort that out in a way that your teams are playing. So therefore, that has been considered by the ISL or by FSDL in the ISL schedule, and that has generally worked quite well. So in my opinion, I would say that wouldn't be the problem of the league. I don't know what others think, but I would say that's something that we can, that we don't need to bother about really. The scheduling is fine. Right, as I started to say, want to come slowly to an end on this Sunday evening in the Indian football discussion. Thanks as always for joining in. If you like the conversation, if you like what we're talking about, do leave a like behind. Share it with others. Even afterwards, I think we've had today also once more a very interesting discussion on football, on Indian football. And yeah, if you want to subscribe, do subscribe as well. 2,314 is at the moment where we stand, and do watch the short videos that I try and make on a daily basis or regular basis. Sometimes it doesn't happen, but yes, about Sunil potentially coming back, about the Manolo incident of who I think he should call up. My question to Mr. Goenka, if he rather not looking at Asia, but rather develop Mohun Bagan into a real football club, build infrastructure, build opportunities for grassroots youth, build a proper stadium on the road. Women's team, of course, is another topic. Over 4,000 views of that already. Thanks a lot. Earlier, ISL top 6 race, Mohun Bagan lifting the shield, Shillong, Ahmed Jahu is a topic as well. Watch all of those things, as I say. And again, we've got a few more things. Lal was carded often this season when he tried to cover up for Anwar and Hector with pace. He displayed some extraordinary workload this season. He has been calm otherwise, but yeah, improvement needed. Yeah, but again, covering, yes, but when you cover, avoid the fouls, right? That's the challenge. If you take Star Sports, they have a lot of channels that telecast all cricket highlights. Why don't they show women's football league? I agree the fact that how many will watch it, but at least try it. Mahesh, they've tried it in the past. Has not worked. Even though they have good FIFA ranking, we don't even know what's happening with their senior women's team, even in the media. Yeah, very, very true. Have a great Sunday night. Thanks, Pujon. I also wish you the best, and I'll catch you soon. As with everybody else, thanks a lot. See you soon. Tomorrow I'll be busy with Carnival over here, so I won't be able to do a live tomorrow. Maybe a late night session. Let's see. Maybe that might happen. But otherwise, I'll catch you on Tuesday, and I'll be doing videos anyway. So thanks and good night and bye, and wish you all the best.